Okay, is that? Do you want to go through? Yeah. Morning, everybody in the meeting room and everybody online. Unfortunately, we're not quorate today for this local pension board committee. So having had a discussion with the chair, we've agreed to go forward with today's meeting. But what we won't be able to do is make any decisions. So we'll be having a discussion only meeting today. Quite unusual for all of us because this is quite exceptional. But that's what we're going to do with today's meeting. And then what we can do is we can reprogram everything back into the next meeting, which hopefully we'll be able to expedite somewhat.
Sorry to interrupt, there was no reply from...
Okay, thanks, Kath.
Right. Well, apologies to everybody, but we might as well sort of look at the agenda and talk about the next meeting, then it could be a lot more.
I agree with it.
So I don't know whether we take apologies for absence now, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Have we got any apologies tendered?
Okay, so we've got apologies from Dave King, Councillor Ellsbury, Gareth Tovey.
Right, that's fine. Okay. Then we got declarations of interest, and I shall read the usual thing out. Members of the Fire and Rescue Authority are reminded of their personal responsibility to both verbally and in writing declare any personal and or prejudicial interest in respect to matters contained in this agenda in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Act 2000. The Fire and Rescue Authority standing orders and the members' code of conduct. Does any members wish to make any declarations? No, I can't see anybody. Right. Should we introduce everyone? Oh yes, I forgot about that one. Yes, I apologise everybody. We will now have introductions round the table because we have some new people here. Well, I'm the chair, Pamela Drake, and I will pass over. We'll go around that way.
Okay, morning everybody. I'm Alison Reid and I'm Director of People Services at South Wales Fire.
Good morning all, I'm the Pensions Manager here at South Wales Fire and Rescue Service.
Morning, Julia Thompson, the Pension Liaison Officer.
Good morning, I'm Megan Morris, part of the Secretariat at South Wales Fire and Rescue Service.
Okay, I'm Helen Leyland, Secretariat here to take the minutes.
I'm Councillor Jennifer Morgan, representing Blaenau Gwent.
Catherine Black, Pension Service Manager, RTT Pensions.
Scott Morris, Member Services Officer.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Watkins, Head of Corporate Support and Deputy Monitoring Officer. And should we introduce themselves? Yeah. Matthew, would you like to introduce yourself to the meeting?
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Matt Brushett, Senior Auditor for Audit Wales. So I'm just here as part of our National Governance Review doing a meeting observation today, and my colleague Charles is with me today.
Good morning, all. Yeah, as Matt just said, I work with him in the National Studies team in the local government section of Audit Wales. Just here to observe today. Thank you very much.
And last but absolutely not least, Daniel.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm one of the Fire Authority members. Have a good.
Right, thank you everybody. Right, we'll get back to the agenda now. Chairperson's announcement, which is item number 3. I do not have any announcements to make today. So move on to item 4, to receive the minutes of the local pension board held on the 3rd of July. Excuse me, we won't be able to do that. No. So we'll move on from that. And this is reports for decision. And item number 5 to review the key performance indicator. And I will hand over now, I think, to Catherine. Take us through it.
Okay, so we monitor monthly our performance against agreed service standards. So those service standards are agreed between.
I'm awfully sorry, Dan's got his hand up for some reason.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. Because obviously this item is the only item, obviously, which is for decision. So we would have to obviously make a decision. Would it be best to leave this one and the debate until we're current? Because the others, I guess, for information, so we can debate them because we wouldn't be obviously making a decision anyway. I guess think it's because this one would be a decision item, it's best just to leave it.
I'm okay, sorry, my ears at the moment, I can't. Perhaps you could say it out loud.
So, thank you, Councillor Norton. I think it will be helpful just to receive the update from RCT, if that's okay. Even though we can't make any decisions, I think it's a very useful update in terms of where we are around McLeod and everything going on at a national level on pensions.
Thank you for that, Alison. I do
Makes
apologise for everything. I've got problems in my ears at the moment. Would you like to carry on?
So, yeah, as I was saying, so we've got agreed service standards between ourselves as a third-party administrator with South Wales Fire and Rescue Service. We monitor these on a monthly basis and then report them to the Pension Board quarterly. So the tables show the performance against those key performance indicators for the 3 schemes. So what we call 92 scheme, our 06 scheme and our 15 scheme. So as things are changing in the pensions, well, if it's reporting will change accordingly going forward as well. We do get relatively low volumes coming through fire compared to local government work. However, the complexity with fire has always been a bit higher than the local government and is getting even more so. So where we are missing cases, which isn't very many, I think there's one case we missed and we didn't hit the service level agreement, but it was completed within 6 days. And that would have been a complex case with maybe a pension sharing divorce or a non-standard case. So we monitor our workload on a daily basis. We have an inbox shared between ourselves and our colleagues in South Wales Fire. So we monitor the work coming in and discuss priorities as and when to meet these service standards as well.
Any other questions on any of those?
Member self-service staff. Again, for LG and fire, we monitor our member self-service stats. So we do have good uptake with the fire officers. We monitor this again and look to continually improve this and continually promote My Pension Online going forward, because we really see the benefits in that communication links with our members. What we are doing at the moment, bearing in mind all the changes, is keeping an eye on that MSS functionality to ensure that it is still appropriate for our fire members. And we're linking in with our software providers, Haywoods, to keep on top of that to make sure we will obviously communicate then any changes through South Wales Fire and Rescue Service. No formal complaints this period. The Firefighters Pensions Remedial Service Wales regulations were laid before the Senedd on the 6th of September 2023 and come into force on 1st of October. So these are the regulations that we need in order to implement the McLeod remedy going forward. So we knew this was coming, it's no surprise, but it's quite nice to actually get there and deal with it. So we've got those regulations. So obviously there's some big changes within fire. So we've also had the Public Service Pensions and Judicial Offices Act 22 and the tax rectification regulations have also been made, which then allows us as administrators to then go back and implement the remedies, deal with the tax situation. We don't know all the answers yet, but what we are doing is the Local Government Association run what they call a coffee morning every other week with a topic. So administrators and scheme managers can drop into those sessions and ask any questions. So we're attending those on a regular basis to make sure we're up to date and asking any questions that we have at that point.
So you're keeping on top of everything.
We're trying to. And what our software suppliers have also, because this is obviously been a big development for our software suppliers, they've also got drop-in sessions now on a Tuesday and a Thursday morning as well. So we're able as administrators to go in and query things directly with our software suppliers and obviously listen to other colleagues in other authorities and administrators who come across problems so that we're sharing that knowledge week on, week out. So at the moment, it's our top staff, our most senior staff who are working on this because of the complexities of it. So we are trying to keep on top of it as much as we possibly can. We're obviously working very closely with our South Wales Fire and Rescue colleagues. So we've come up with a project plan, so we're working through that, and we've implemented regular meetings so that we can catch up and discuss any issues. But yeah, we're in close contact on a day-to-day basis anyway. Members of the RCT pensions team attended the AGM, as I think Kim and Julia did as well.
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah, we met
Yeah.
up in a hotel.
Yeah. So feedback was that was very useful, and again, it's good to do the networking and pick up these colleagues that you can pick up the phone to and sort of say, have you come across this? So as well as the technical benefits, there's the networking benefits for us as well. Our 2023 annual benefit statements for both your deferred and your active members were issued to the statutory deadline of the end of August 2023. Pension savings statements for this year, due to the complexities around rollback and implementing the remedy, don't have to be issued until October 2024. So we'll obviously bear that in mind, so that once we've got the data in and we can start reworking people, we'll obviously issue those statements to those people who need them. Dashboard, does everybody know what I mean when you say dashboard? Okay. No, that's okay. So Dashboard is a national project where the whole pensions industry are looking together. So as an individual, you will be able to go onto this dashboard and input some what they call a matching criteria, whether it's your national insurance number, date of birth, and it will return all your pension benefits. So, because what the pensions industry is finding as a whole is people losing touch with their pension benefits in the world where people move around employment a lot more. So you'll be able to go onto this dashboard and it should feed back then all your personal pensions, all your occupational pensions, both private, public, your state pension benefits. So you get a whole picture of your individual pension circumstances, which, as you can imagine, for some people, is going to be quite complex. So this is a big national project at the moment. So there was an original staging deadline where we had to onboard. So what will happen is we're working with our software providers, because they will be the link between us and the dashboard. They're almost like a switchboard in the middle. I'm not very technically minded. So they act as like a switchboard in the middle. So when somebody puts their details in, they can sort of plug them into us, and our data will automatically feed straight back. So it's not held anywhere. They just get instant access to our systems. So obviously with the changes going on at the moment as well, I think, I'd like to think that it's been recognised that at the moment things are so complex, to try and implement dashboard so that people can get benefits when there's so many options, especially for a lot of public service schemes at the moment.
If anybody's got difficulties in getting on this dashboard, who do they contact?
I think it'll be the Money Advice Service, the Money and Pension Schemes, because it's a national run thing. So our duty is that we have to be ready to onboard it. So as an administrator, our main responsibility is making sure our data is right, and that people can access.
When it works.
When it works.
Yeah, when it works. So there were the deadlines for this have been put back. So there's a single staging date of October 26. However, we're expecting guidance that different schemes will have to onboard before that. Now, LG is expected to be October 25. We've heard whispers, but I haven't heard anything about fire yet. So let anybody know as soon as I do hear anything. We've started our 2023 proof of life exercise. So this is an exercise where we contact all our overseas pensioners and ask them to do a digital proof of life exercise. We've recently, in the last 2 years, moved to a digital proof of life exercise. So in the UK, we get notified of members who pass away through a Tell Us When to Registrar service, and we purchase a product from our software suppliers as well, who monitor all the things out there, and then we get triggers about members' deaths. Our overseas members, however, though, don't get caught up in that data collection exercise. So what we do is we ask them to do a proof of life exercise, which is a digital exercise, which we've gone through in the last 2 years. It was a paper exercise, but the uptake of that has been really good with our overseas pensioners. So it's literally biometrics. It's you take a photo of your passport or your driving license, take a photo of you, and it says yes, it's you. So, and then we get fed that back into the pension service, and then if we've got any queries, if the software isn't sure, it comes to us, and then obviously we can, if there are any fire wins, we would come to South Wales Fire scheme managers. So and that's about reducing risk, so that we're stopping pensions as soon as we're made aware of people passing away, so they're not paying those pensions, they're not identifying fraud and reducing risk. We're expecting the 2023 pensions regulator scheme return. So sometimes it goes to South Wales Fire and Rescue Service. So we get notification that we're going to get it. So we've had the notification that we're going to get it. So we're obviously keeping an eye out for the deadlines around that. So that includes scheme data, so it's board members, membership numbers, and most importantly, some data quality. So we have to report that into the pensions regulator. So we'll keep an eye out for that coming in.
Did you say, Kim, that we'd received it?
No, we get a, it's a joint responsibility.
Yes,
So we
I
both
gather
are
that.
notified that the scheme return is coming.
Ah,
Yeah.
right, I thought, right, okay, thanks.
So we haven't been told that it's open for completion yet.
Right.
We've had the notification to
Yeah.
say you will be getting
Yes.
it. The other thing I wanted to mention, we've also had a lot of revised factors from the Government Factories Department. So we've been watching those coming through and trying to make sure that, so as we get them, we're feeding them out to the team, but the software suppliers are getting them the same time as us. So even when the memos come out, we've then got to wait for the software to be updated. So keeping an eye on which factors are in and what processes we can do and can't do. So, yeah, so we're keeping an eye on that at the moment. So.
The software suppliers, are they slow in working and getting on board? or
No,
not?
I think what's happened this year is normally the factors go through to them in a specified template. So again, not very technical. So they can upload the factors into the software, which then feeds out to us. But apparently GAD changed this template. So they've had to do a lot more manual intervention, I think, to put the factors in then for us to use. So there has been a bit of a delay this year, but not through the software supplier's fault. I think it was the template, the format it was getting fed through to them.
That's a knock-on effect to everything else then.
Yeah, so because we have to sort of make sure that what we are processing is picking up the right factors and for the things we are processing where the system hasn't been updated and to like manually ensure that the factors that we are using are right. So. Yeah, so that was everything for me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very busy at the moment.
Well, obviously, we can't do the recommendations today.
No.
So, well, thank you very much for that. It was very useful, especially explaining the dashboard. I haven't got a great amount of technical stuff either. Right then, right, we move on to the next item, which is item 6, the publications of information, and I shall hand over to Alison.
Yeah,
to
thank you.
take us through these.
Thank you, Chair. So I won't spend too long, or as long as I usually do, because we're not quorate, but I'll just quickly highlight a few things that I think are worth members being aware of, or perhaps spending time having a read through, starting with page 29. So it's 29, the online version and your hard copy. Top of the page there, consultation on firefighter pension schemes, remedial service. So this is the consultation we've launched and LGA's response to the consultation. It's just useful for you to be aware of. And I know some of these consultations are now closed, so we'll probably cover those later on in other versions. But just for you to follow the journey of the consultation has gone live and it's been closed down, and this is what government's response is to that. Also on page 29, I'm just going to find it towards the bottom of that page, ill health reassessment, IQMP template, and Kim and the team are currently looking at the reassessment of our employees who have been ill health retired. So as part of the McLeod remedy, there will be a reassessment required for anyone who has been exited on ill health retirement. So just to alert you to that. Page 30, the Catherine just mentioned, top of that page, GAD issuing lots of updates on factors. You'll see there's some of the factors starting to come through via the FPS bulletins. So these bulletins come into service. I generally share them with Kim team and Catherine for their action. I think they probably get them already. But yeah, just as sort of my own due diligence, just checking that you've got them and that they are in hand. On to page 34, just quickly, the cost control mechanism. I just want to highlight that there is a written ministerial statement on the cost control mechanism, and there's a piece of work being undertaken around reforming that mechanism. So that's just for your awareness. 34 towards the bottom of that page also, and into the next page, starting to look at the pensions dashboard programme. So this is the thing that Catherine just talked about, and this has been in a number of the updates recently, and we're following that journey. But as Catherine said, as a fire sector, we're probably be onboarded quite late. I think there was thought that we would be onboarded quite early on in the process, but it's just useful for you to be aware of this as members, what that journey looks like and the project plan for that. In terms of HMRC and tax regs, on to page 37. HMRC also issued a consultation around tax requirements under McLeod. So that again is just notified for that consultation, and useful for those of you who would like to pay tax to know that it's there.
No, they keep sending me a bill.
Oh, do they?
Yes. I don't get rebates.
On to quickly page 49. Oh, as we skim through 39, Catherine mentioned the team here, Kim and Julia, attended the AGM for fire pensions, and I'll draw on some information that's sort of coming out of that a bit later around the risk register. So useful couple of days in London to share good practice and to hear latest developments on McLeod and other pension related matters. Page 49 and into 50, so I'm doing a very quick romp through. Just picking up again the consultations around. You can see there the first two actions arising. There's consultations on retained firefighter pensions and consultation on public service pension schemes. So those come out via the bulletins. Page 56, just to alert you to this, it's a one to watch. The trade unions have been granted the right to appeal the cost cap mechanism, so halfway down the page, and other news and updates. So the Court of Appeal has granted the unions permission to appeal against the recent High Court judgment over the government's proposed methods of paying cost incurred by McLeod. So it's one just to have on your radar. What else did I want to chat you through? To page 65 and 66, we're going quite quickly, but again, just useful for you to be aware. Again, the focus you'll see throughout all of these bulletins is around consultation, getting ready now for the McLeod implementation. So towards the bottom of that page, we're starting to have calculators shared, retrospective remedy. So starting now to look at the regulations that were implemented on the 1st of October to correct age discrimination in pension.
I'm just going to ask you about that.
Yes, so I've got the experts to my left, so bear with, I'll invite them in shortly just to kind of give us a bit of an update on the project.
Yeah.
Page 67, just useful information towards the bottom of that page around CPI figures and what will be applied for each of the years. We were watching the CPI rate for 23-24, 10.1%, you can see there, which is quite significant. Page 68, again, just into remedy updates towards the bottom of that page. Again, looking at remedy and implementation from the 1st of October. And then into page 90, which is a bit away, just highlighting the FPF UMAP letters. And Kim and the team have now, over the last few weeks, as part of the project, started to send out letters to members, and they can give you an idea of the magnitude of those. shortly. And I think that was it by way of an update for now, given where we are as a committee at the moment. So I'll just pause there. Plenty of reading for you members, but hopefully, you know, kind of taking you on the journey with us, as opposed to not highlighting anything.
Does anybody want to, do you want to ask anything this time? No, that's it. No, well, there's nothing we can do about this now, you've just gone through everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
So should we move then on to the next item, which is the update?
Is that the, item number 7?
Yes. Yeah. So members will be aware that we have been prepping for the implementation of MacLeod. So this is correcting age discrimination, and this report, what I've done here for members' benefit is just capture the journey for us.
There's a lot of
So,
paper.
yeah. So it sort of starts with, you know, the background to the pensions reform exercise that was done. So starting with Lord Hutton's review in 2011, through to the High Court judgments, and then decisions taken by this fire authority in terms of implementing remedy. So this fire authority made a decision to implement and put right, as far as it possibly could, the age discrimination element of MacLeod, as far as MacLeod. And so what this report does is it shares as an appendix the number of cases that we've processed. So I'm just going to highlight page 111. So as part of MacLeod remedy, for audits information, we have processed 50 cases since the fire authority made the decision to issue retirement estimates and put in right the age discrimination element. So working alongside RCT, Kim and the team have done a sterling job in terms of letting our firefighters retire with a reasonable correction. And we know that every case will have to be re-examined once the regs are in, but we were one of a few fire and rescue services in the UK to move in this direction. So, you know, with the support of Fire Authority, you know, we've been able to do that. So I say it every time, but thank you to Kim and RCT, Catherine and the team, for driving this forward for us. So 50 cases processed. We're now into that phase of the remedy is now in full flow and the regs are in. So discussions around Cat 1 and Cat 2 will sort of dissipate over the next few weeks as we are now into properly processing MacLeod cases. What I've also done in that report is attached at Appendix 2, so that's page 113. The Home Office government response to the retrospective remedy. So we responded to this consultation. I'm conscious there's a lot there to read, but I'd also like to flag at the same time to from 177, which is the Welsh Government response to remedy and age discrimination. And because we are the Welsh Fire and Rescue Service, I would say probably the Welsh Government response is probably more pertinent to us.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. And again, we responded to that consultation. I think our RCT, did you respond to that as well? No, okay. So I know the 3 FRS in Wales responded to the Welsh consultation. So that's the government response, both from a sort of English and Welsh perspective. So that's quite useful for you as members. I'd probably also just pick up, as we're on the report, the O'Brien aspect. So we're talking about MacLeod, which is remedy and age discrimination. And O'Brien is also referred to as Matthews. So Matthews O'Brien, this is where there was a consultation and now there's a move to reflecting, this is about part-time workers, so this affects our on-call staff. So the O'Brien case basically set out that any service prior to 2000 would be pensionable. So the second part of the report on national exercises covers off O'Brien. What I can tell you is O'Brien has been delayed until the new year. Our expectation was that it would be implemented in parallel with MacLeod.
Yeah.
And yes, so the team were starting to kind of look at all this work coming down the tracks. We have bolstered the team, so we've got some temporary resource in the team to process these projects. But it's a lot of work and a lot of manual intervention.
Got a nice New Year's present for
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. It doesn't stop. It just really doesn't stop.
It doesn't with these two, does it?
No.
I can remember this from years ago.
I bet you can, yes. And fortunately for us, Kim and the team can as well.
That's hard, isn't it, ladies?
So yes, so we've got a bit of a reprieve on Brian, but it's not stopping. So
No,
there will be,
no.
work coming in the new year. So I'm just going to pause there, just to ask if Kim or Julia would like to say a few words on the magnitude of MacLeod and some of the work that's already underway, and they're running a project. So mapping the highlights, the kind of letters that are issued, the magnitude, the numbers, and the different categories. Thanks.
So yeah, I can just do a verbal on both MacLeod and where we are with O'Brien at the moment. So MacLeod has obviously hit the 1st of October, and we've all survived, just about, I think, and Catherine's team. So when we talk about Cat 1 and Cat 2 members, Category 2 members are those members that have already retired from the service and receipt of a pension. And some of those, although not all, are part of the 50 that we've already provided the immediate detriment calculations for. And then Category 1 are those that are retiring from the service. So I'll talk about Cat 2s first. So between April 2015 and the end of the remediable service of March 2022, we have in excess of 290 retirees that form part of our Category 2 cohort. And they're a mix of protected members who would have retired with no ID calculations, because at that point they weren't seen as being in detriment. But now moving forward and post 1st of October, they are also entitled to see the option of moving their previously crystallised benefits from their legacy scheme into the reformed scheme. We wouldn't have done that previously. Tapered members, unprotected members, there's 50 plus of those. Ill health retirements I touched on earlier, so we have about 50 in total. 30 plus need a reassessment between legacy or 2015. So that's how the IQMP assesses their eligibility for the entitlement of those schemes. Those letters have already gone off. So our colleague Sarah Glover is leading on the ill health retirements. So we've had to write out to all those that need reassessments for consent, if you like, to reopen those cases with the IQMP. Yeah. We've had to send out, once they've consented, their letters individually to the IQMP, attaching their previous medical reports, previous opinions, the new certificates that they need to assess against. So we've sent them to the IQMP, and he will be working through those. Once we get those back, then we can start to do to compile the remediable year service data that Catherine's team needs to offer the different pension options. And not forgetting, we have 7 dependents, so those that are in receipt of survivor benefits from those that have passed away. Again, they also need to be provided with remediable options. So that's our Cat 2 cohort. So that's all going on and in the mix. And in addition to that, then the actual remediable remedy, if you like, data set, that encompasses, we think, in excess of 1,200 members. So that they are those that have opted out, they are leavers of the service, they're currently active members. And within the 1,200 members, this is about manually rebuilding remediable service for 7 years worth of data, really, and more for some, across our different HR and payroll systems. So just to give you an idea of the magnitude of these, we have 200, no we don't. So we have 20 protected members. Julia's already worked through these. This data's already gone off to RCT, and RCT are working on those already. As your trial group, Catherine, I think. Yeah. We have 505 unprotected that we'll have to work through, 40 tapered. Opt-outs and deferreds 128, transfers in and out about 50. And then to add to the complication, we have in excess of 80 members that are or could be entitled to an O'Brien remedy and a MacLeod remedy. So they've had to be moved to one side, if you like. We can't write to those individuals until O'Brien takes off in the new year at some point, and their MacLeod remedy will need to be delayed because we'll need to know whether they're taking up the offer of O'Brien first. So they'll need to buy back any service first that they want to buy back, and then they'll come into the MacLeod mix.
What a mess.
So most, if not all, of those letters have gone out now. They are what we're referring to nationally as warm-up letters. So they've gone out in tranches, and we have had some individuals communicate back with us, not too many of those. And in all fairness, they've been sensible questions, and those that are actually asking questions around are they in a different group to the one that we've categorised them in, and where we've looked into those, we have actually moved them around because they've got information that we haven't. So all of that is in the mix. It's bubbling along on top of business as usual for our team and for Catherine's team as well. So that's MacLeod at the moment. And then moving on to O'Brien, which we now have had confirmation from Welsh Gov is delayed until the new year. So we've moved away now from the national date of the 1st of October. A confirmation from Welsh Gov has indicated that at whatever point that is laid in the new year, we will still have the 18 months to work from that point forward. Just to give you numbers on that, we have 460 that we think are eligible to be offered a remedy. And they will start to really receive warm-up letters now. We will let them know that in Wales the exercise is being delayed until the new year, and then when we get closer to the new year, we will start to send out what we will refer to as expressions of interest letters, where they will need to respond within a given time frame to tell us whether they are interested in receiving further information. And we have already written out to 363 individuals that are non-eligible because they don't meet the criteria. They went out in March. We've had a couple of inquiries around, well, I brought servicing and different things like that. So they've now been moved into the eligible criteria camp, and they'll get a letter then when we send out with that group in the coming weeks. So that's where we are with those two exercises. There is a lot of administration at the moment, but in addition to that, also Julia and Sarah are working through the data exercise. So Catherine's team compiled what turned out to be, I think, in excess of 10,000 lines worth of data, which we've now sort of chopped up into the different groups, protected and unprotected. So we're working through those one at a time, so to make sure that everybody has the options that they need. So we've agreed with Catherine's team that we will work on those in batches and send completed batches up to RCT. They'll look through them, upload them, process them on a batch approach.
Huge task.
Yeah, mammoth, to be honest with you. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, you'll get there. I'm sure.
So how many years do you think it'll take to conclude?
Well, we have 18 months in law.
Yeah, that's what made me ask the question.
So it has to be done within the 18
Right.
months.
That's a lot of work to get done in 18 months.
Yes.
Obviously, it's up to the people to tell you if they've moved or something.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so we're required to
Yeah.
make reasonable endeavours to
Yeah.
contact the individuals. For active members, it's easier because
Yes.
their
Yes.
addresses should be up to date with us.
Yeah.
And pensioner members, in fact, they tend to keep their addresses up to date.
Yeah.
But it's maybe those that have maybe resigned or
Yes.
moved away from
Yeah.
the service without
Yeah.
activating their pensions,
Mm.
they may fall through the
Yeah.
gap. Julia's done posters out to stations for O'Brien, you know, and we've asked the watchers if they're still in that community and they know people, please promote O'Brien in particular. I think we've had 1 or 2 people contact us
Yeah.
and ask, are they on our list? Are they on our list? And we've checked addresses. So we're moving forward with that. Interestingly, I don't know if you were on a coffee morning last week where the LGA were talking about what is deemed as reasonable endeavours, and some services are going down almost like using tracing services and things like that. So whilst we have that option in the back pocket, we're fairly comfortable that we have addresses for everybody at the moment. So we'll see how many get returned as
Yeah.
not at this
Yeah.
address, and maybe think about that going forward.
Yeah.
Not easy, is it?
Yeah. So that's where we're at now.
Well done.
It is progressing.
Oh,
Yes,
dear,
indeed.
yeah.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Right, well, here as present, we've noted all that.
Yes,
Thank you.
Right, the next one then is number 8, which is a verbal update report on the schemes advisory board.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So the last scheme advisory board for Wales was held on the 20th of July 23. I'll just give you a very quick flavour of the discussion. And some of it we've already covered this morning. So main topics, agenda items were the discrimination remedy, so update on McLeod and O'Brien. The other agenda items around a consultation that Welsh Government were putting out on the 2007 pension scheme around, so this was O'Brien related, and the 2007 compensation scheme. So this is around how far does the compensation scheme be applied in certain groups of staff. That consultation in particular closed last Friday, and we submitted a response to that.
Yeah.
So that's just to update on that. The other, I would say the main agenda items are with the 2020 valuation assumptions. And for those of you who understand how this works, probably better than I, what GAD do is they give you a presentation around things like mortality rates, retirement ages, rates of leave in service, promotional pay increases, rates of ill health retirement, and any other family statistics, if you can say that word. GAD in that presentation talked about the changes to employer contribution rates would be effective from April 2024, and they would remain in place until 2027. It was also noted in the presentation that take up for O'Brien, so the exercise Kim has just referred to, if there's a high take up there, then there's likely that higher contributions will be the outcome. So I think it's a watch and see what happens. We're currently waiting for an update from GAD on where all that has got to. They were looking at information and data right up until the end of August. So I think it's a watch and wait on that one. That was the main area of discussion at the meeting. So that's a quick update on SARB for July, and I think there's going to be another SARB in November. Date as of next.
Thank you for that. Nobody wants to raise anything. Or we move on to the next item, which is over to you again.
Yeah,
And the, what is it, the update on pension
Consultation. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do there is in the main national exercise updates, I put in the Home Office consultation responses and the Welsh Government one. What we didn't have the opportunity to do, because the reports came out prior to us issuing our response to Welsh Gov, is include the O'Brien and the 2007 the compensation in 2007. O'Brien, sorry, amendment order. Yeah, lost my words. That went in last Friday. So what I would propose to do is share those responses at a future meeting, so that members are aware of what we've submitted. And I think that's it on consultations for now.
Thank you for that. Right, so we go on to item, perhaps you can take us through item 10, which is the local pension board risk register.
Yeah,
Just a brief.
yeah, thank you, Chair. So, this report has been derived from a number of things. So, a review by us, so Kim team, and myself, around the role of the local pension board, and we've been sort of, constantly monitoring the pension regulator website just to see, what latest practices around LPBs and the requirements for training and all of that stuff. So, and also feedback from the AGM that Kim and Catherine and Julia attended around the requirements to have strong governance for local pension boards, and in particular to have a risk register solely for the local pension board. So the ask in this report is that members consider the report and determine if a risk register should be developed.
Can't do that.
No. I think probably what we would like to do, just to give members notice, is if we can come back to this report at the next meeting, and then perhaps run a short facilitated, because that was the plan for today, was to run a short facilitated conversation around what risks the members think should be on the local pension.
No
board.
deadline on this for setting this
No,
up, is
no.
there?
This is a sort of an area of good practice for us. So I think, so I think what I'd like members to do, if possible, is to go away and have a think, and then at the next meeting we'll organise a facilitated discussion around what those risks might look like.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Forgive me for this. Have we done a risk register before?
Yes, but not for some time.
No, I
So the
never
local
thought.
pension board
When I read this, I was
was developed in 2015. So it's, as Al just said, it's good practice to
Yes.
regularly review that. Hence us coming back to it now to review that need.
right.
Yes.
Right, thank you for that. I triggered something when I was reading.
Yes.
You remember something about it, did you?
Yes, I did, yeah.
I wasn't on the fire authority then, so I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I think, some of the areas that we might want to discuss are around, we've just talked about an 18-month window to implement McLeod and O'Brien. So
Yeah,
is the
that
local
makes sense.
pension board, does it feel that
Yeah.
that window is achievable? And if not, what's the mitigation? What can we do as a committee to support that implementation?
Perhaps we can have a longer discussion on that then.
Yeah.
It needs to have a good discussion.
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yeah. And then the appendix just shows an example risk register. That's taken.
Did you want to put it up further up the agenda or for the next meeting or what?
Yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
helpful actually, if we bring it forward.
Yeah.
And maybe put it as a decision paper. Because the question is, are you happy for us to develop one, and
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd move it up the agenda.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right then. Well, the next thing then is item number 11, which is our cold work programme. Well, obviously, we have to go back through several things.
Yeah.
But if there's anything urgent, we can just add it anyway.
Yeah.
No problem with that. Right, well, I've got nothing else to add, and I do apologise to everybody that haven't been able to make any definite decisions. But thank you for taking us up through everything. Good help.
Thank you, Jane.
So, Well, I think that's the end of the meeting. Thank you all for your attendance, and I do apologise once again that we haven't been able to do the full tick box exercise. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.